Hi, welcome back to Behind the Badge. With me is Chris Basal, our community liaison. I'm Chief Alan Rodbell, the Scottsdale Police Department. We remember last month we were bragging about how
we were so excited.
Yeah, because this month we're going to showcase the new studio design, and we're really proud of this.
We
It's
are.
A long time in
it's
coming.
amazing. Look at that.
Yeah, so
digital.
Take a look at all this. It's really gorgeous, and hats off to the crew here. If you guys want to take a picture of yourselves, Amanda and over there in the studio
go
box,
ahead.
get yourself
Show
on
everybody
camera. There you go.
that we have them here.
We're very, very proud
Thank
of this. You guys worked long and hard to get this accomplished, and it's been
awesome.
many years in the making. And quite frankly, this is fitting of star status. So thank you for doing this for us. We probably have to share this with other.
We do, though.
Shows.
We have to share it with other city employees.
We'll let them use our.
Yeah, we're the first, though, so we're special.
So congratulations, and we're excited for you guys. We have a really great show for you this month because we're going to talk to folks that we don't usually have with us
we
visiting.
are special guests today.
And we're really excited about that because these are folks that partner with us on a regular basis, and people just don't realize that. In fact, I actually received a question just recently at a subcommittee of the council asking about our partnerships with federal agencies, and it was easy for me to brag about our relationships because one thing about the Southwest, and of course I've been other places, is that we get along so well at all levels of law enforcement. And that pays big dividends for the safety of our communities.
And we've talked about it a lot, how lucky we are, and when we've had programs with our detectives and stuff and how they partnered with our federal partners or that they've been on task force before. And so we have brought this up before, but we're so lucky to have them in studio with us today. And the big guys came, they didn't send somebody way down here like me, they sent like the big guys like you. So I'm so excited.
Don't encourage them. I told you, don't encourage these people. So anyway, we have 3 guests this week, this month, and then we're going to have some other guests next month.
Yes, the 2 other federal partners next month.
Wonderful. Let's meet our guests. Welcome, gentlemen. It's good to have you guys here.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
We really appreciate you taking your time out to share time with us because we know you guys have busy schedules and you don't usually appear like this on camera.
No.
Usually the guys behind the scenes making all the decisions and running the shop, and we know this takes a lot of your time. So thank you for doing that. Let me introduce the 3 of you, and then we'll get to talking and telling the citizens the things that we think they need to know about. Doug Price is the special agent in charge of the FBI branch here in Arizona. But you have more than just Arizona?
No, I just have Arizona.
Arizona, state of Arizona. Because I know sometimes some of the federal agencies go to other states as well. Doug Coleman is a special agent in charge of DEA. And is it just Arizona?
Just Arizona.
Just Arizona, okay. And welcome to you, gentlemen. And then we could talk about Pete's last name. I got it. Wait a minute.
Karaginas.
Pete Karaginas, who happens to be this assistant special agent in charge of the Secret Service here in Arizona.
Yes, we also cover New Mexico as well as part of our district.
Wow, you do a lot of traveling in between those 2 large states.
We have an office there with 5, but yes, we do.
Welcome, gentlemen, and we're really happy to have you here with us today. So let's talk about some of the things we're doing in terms of partnershiping. Well, first of all, let me ask you to talk a little bit about yourselves, if you don't mind. Just so the viewers have an idea of how someone comes to your positions in the state of Arizona as a result of, quite frankly, a lengthy and quite frankly, a wonderful career with your bureau. So if you don't mind, Doug.
Sure. Doug Price with the FBI. I've been with the FBI for 20 years. Spent most of my career in Los Angeles, but some time in New Mexico as well. And then, of course, Washington, D.C. For promotional purposes in the FBI, everyone touches the base at our headquarters a couple of times. And so I couldn't be happier to be here in Arizona. I'm a West Coast person, and I'm always happy when the farthest I am away from Washington, D.C. And so
my hometown, by the way.
So it's a great state to work in, and we have a lot of great cases here. The FBI in Arizona is quite large. We have 7 RAs, resident agencies, and one of those is in Tucson, which it covers a lot of the state as well. So we have a very large footprint in Arizona and a lot of good work here.
Thank you.
Doug. Doug Coleman. I'm with DEA. I've been with DEA for a little over 24 years, originally from Las Vegas. My different DEA assignments have taken me to Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Bakersfield, California, that garden spot. Been in Phoenix here for about 8.5 years, and I did a couple of different tours back in Washington, D.C., one in our headquarters building and one in our academy at Quantico. I was an instructor there back a long time ago.
That's neat.
Ever out of the country?
Many tours out of the country, no permanent ones, just a lot of temporary assignments. I've been here for the last 8.5 years. I came out as the number 2 about 8.5 years ago, and I've got promoted to the agent in charge about 4.5 years ago. Like the FBI, we have a large footprint here because of where Arizona sits in relation to the border for drug trafficking. I have 7 different offices around the state with well-staffed. We have a large footprint here for DEA.
That's great.
Thank you. Peter.
Yeah, Pete Karaginas, the ASAC again, Chief, with the Secret Service here. I started as a uniformed officer with Secret Service back in '92 and became an agent and went to Little Rock, Arkansas, California, Florida, back to D.C. for the vortex of Washington, and escaped that about 3 years ago and been here as the ASAC 3 years ago, arrived. Love every day of it.
We've got some great partnerships with your unit. A lot of dignitary protection details when high-profile folks come from other countries or visit from D.C. Come into our city, and we work very closely with you on that. I know we had an amazing case just recently, a counterfeit case, which is really huge. A lot of citizens don't know about it unless they've recently read the paper. Can you tell us a little bit about that case?
Yeah, I sure can. Part of our Electronic Crimes Task Force, we have a partnership, of course, an MOU all with Scottsdale Police Department. We have Scottsdale detectives on our task force full time. We have an office for them in our office. So the partnership, it's almost a brotherhood, if you will, Chief. It's been really productive and just outstanding. Again, 3 years here, I've never seen anything quite like this. Counterfeit case starts where we have a suspect known to the Secret Service out of headquarters. For the last 12 years, they called his counterfeit note the Southwest note. It was so good that by the time we detected it, it already made it to the Federal Reserve. That's the kind of quality of note this was. With the assistance, and primarily the assistance of Scottsdale's fraud or white-collar crimes unit, investigative unit, we discovered who he was, where he was producing or manufacturing this counterfeit, where he stored a lot of his proceeds. It took us probably about 6 months worth of, I won't give up all of our assets that we use in law enforcement, but we determined who he was and followed him for quite some time. And it's in federal, he's been sentenced. He got several years in federal prison, and the tune of about $2.5 million is what he passed here in Phoenix, and through the, I guess it's the southwest region of the United States. But we've never seen a note that significant. It was the same technique utilized by the genuine currency, intaglio printing, offset, and typographic printing. So very interesting case, and even headquarters thought it was phenomenal how we did this. And being quite honest with you, Chief, we said this at a ceremony recently with you all. We presented a plaque of appreciation to that unit, and without your assistance, it would have never come to fruition. So again, thank you. And a great case.
Very, very proud.
It was fun when they came to the department and gave us that, the SAC and a few other people came. But can I just throw something in before you say that? Because a lot of people, when they think Secret Service, they think of presidential protection, and they never really think about counterfeit and some of the other things that you do. So I'm so glad that we're talking about that aspect of your job, because most people think, oh, Secret Service is presidential protection.
Right, and it has changed. The relationship for the visits, every time we arrive in Scottsdale Airport, you all handle, for the most part, the arrival departures, the motorcade routes for us, and without your assistance, again, that couldn't be done.
Well, we're proud to partner with you. I'm very proud of the work the organizations have done together. This gentleman was also manufacturing his own equipment to make the money, so it wasn't like he's just printing money.
Sure did.
He was doing quite a bit of work, and so phenomenal case, and thank you for allowing us to involve you. Doug, I know we've got some partnerships going. We've always had a task force in a number of years. Our officers have been assigned to your units to work alongside your units. Is that still going on?
Yeah, we have a long-standing relationship with Scottsdale Police. Over 10 years that task force has been in existence. The task force it's a phenomenal asset for both DEA and I think for Scottsdale Police Department. What we do with that task force is I actually assign agents that work under one of your sergeants who supervises the task force. DEA funds the task force, but it's made up of primarily your guys and a few of my guys sprinkled in. They do fantastic work, not only here in Scottsdale, but nationwide type of work, because they're targeting high-level drug traffickers, the worst drug traffickers in the world, the most violent criminals in the world. And that group has been incredibly successful for many, many years. And every once in a while, we cycle new guys through, you cycle new guys through, I cycle new guys through, but the group, I think what's neat about that, it's a little different than a lot of task forces around the country, especially with DEA, is that group is led by a Scottsdale sergeant. the Scottsdale sergeant, the DEA agents work for the Scottsdale sergeant, which is kind of neat. Not a normal model, but it's worked like that for many years. It's been incredibly successful, and the Scottsdale Police Department is a great partner at DEA.
Thank you very much. We love that partnership. So I'm also a member of the International Association of Chiefs of Police Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs Committee. And I know you've changed some leadership, because for a long time, Michelle Leonard was the director of DEA. Now you've got some new leadership. I've not met the new leadership. I guess I'll meet in October at the conference.
Right.
But how are things going? Any change in directions for DEA?
You know, I think that after the prior minister, Michelle Leonhard, retired, she'd been around for a long time with us. Of course, she'd been running the organization for many years. And so I think any new leader that comes in is going to have to put their mark on it, as we all did when we came into our different jobs. No major changes to what we're about at this point, but he's only been in place for about 6 weeks, so I'm sure he's trying to get his feet wet and understand how our agency works. Unfortunately for us, he came from the FBI, so I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Well, I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
He's a great guy. Chief Rosen, he's a great guy.
We'll give him 2 minutes to rebuttal.
Exactly.
No, but
Awesome.
we're excited to see what his name's Chuck Rosenberg. We're excited to see what his ideas are and which way he wants to go. You know, there are a lot of benefits to being a single mission agency. We care about one thing and one thing only, and we're completely focused on that one mission. So we're excited to see what's going to happen in the future.
Well, I look forward to meeting him and hearing from him.
And if he's coming from the FBI, he's already in the game, so
Yeah.
can't be that bad, right?
That's
He's
right.
already
Former U.S. attorney. He's a good
exactly.
guy.
I think he's got a lot of
I
experience.
encourage you guys. He just keeps doing it. Well, here's your rebuttal opportunity. So we've had huge opportunities to partner. I mean,
Yep.
you know, the Super Bowl seems like quite a ways in the past, but it really isn't. It's just a few months ago that we had literally our population like tripled in the city, because we had the Pro Bowl, the Super Bowl, and the Open all within the same week and a half. Actually, within the same week, but we started the Pro Bowl preparations a couple of days before the Pro Bowl actually occurred. So there was a lot of people coming into town, a lot of people visiting, a lot of people living here that are taking advantage of all the opportunities. And quite frankly, we were a 24/7 city. Started with ESPN in the morning, went all the way up to when we closed our bar district down in the late evening or early morning hours. And we had some events that went till 3 a.m. in Westworld property. So we had literally a lot of things going on. And over a year of preparation for this 1 week and a half period. And the FBI demonstrating the leadership you've demonstrated to get us all through that was just nothing less than phenomenal. And I want to thank you personally for all that, and then give you a chance to talk about all the things you did to support us now that I set you up.
You know, it was a great opportunity, great experience. I was really surprised at how early we did start planning and what it takes and what goes into that. I think what a lot of people don't realize is when you look at big events like a Super Bowl, we actually rank events nationally. We categorize them. So a presidential speech, that is a national event, and it requires certain resources, and then it steps down from there. Well, the next level down is the Super Bowl type levels. And so at the time of the Super Bowl, we had the Super Bowl, which was a Tier 1 event. It's called a Tier 1. We had the golf event.
Yeah, the Phoenix Open.
We had the Jackson Barrett, which was also large, and then just the downtown events in Phoenix, and then the events over here with the ESPN zone. So within a 10-day, 2-week period, we had 4 high categorized national events all under one umbrella. And so the partnership, it was amazing with Scottsdale and with all the other agencies around here. I think I was most impressed with just how everybody gets along and covers off. For example, I know that like when your SWAT team was going to be assigned to something at the Super Bowl and ours was free, that we were actually going to cover for each other. There was actually some, just take turns and so that we had full coverage on the different cities, which was amazing. The thing about the Super Bowl that people oftentimes don't realize is the police departments, they have that footprint on the ground. They take care of all that. The FBI has a big intelligence role to watch what's going on, not just in the city, not in the state, but around the country and the threat posture, the threats that are coming in. And we certainly had plenty of threat streams coming in during that time period. And as you said, we ran a 24/7 command post for 2 weeks to cover the metro area. And but the partnership was great. And the great thing is when we exercise like that, we see how well we work together. So then when we have an event like a couple of weeks ago at the mosque in Phoenix, we basically can turn on that model and everybody steps up and the intelligence cycle runs exactly the same. And I think that our folks from headquarters have all commented that the way we do it in Arizona is the model. They wish that every place could do it like that. We just really, really have a great model of how we work together.
We've actually had some visitors from the future Super Bowls come out and kind of go behind the scenes and see the kinds of things that were going on. They were actually overwhelmed. They're just going to have a Super Bowl, but they saw all things are taking place here, and it's like, wow, all these moving parts that are so well coordinated. That doesn't happen by mistake.
Right.
That doesn't happen without people really working well together.
And we talked about it. So if you remember and you guys want to go to our January show, you will see after all these events were over how we praised all our federal partners and everybody because
Why
we
would
did.
they want to go to our January show? I'm just
Yeah, just saying they could go back and see that we talked about it,
That is
and
so-
then we
that
say
is
how
so
excited
yesterday.
we were that it all went so well.
We were, and let me emphasize that again is bragging, and I don't mean to say catch me if you can, but nothing happened.
Yep.
I mean, with all of that potential, it was an incredibly safe, and quite frankly, I think just the other day they reported $740 million in revenue to the cities during that time period. So extremely successful Super Bowl season. I think the most successful in the history. And I think it was the day after the Super Bowl that someone from Glendale said, we want to get him back. It's like, really? Can we
Yeah, like
breathe
breathe a little bit.
Can we take a break here for just a few
Yeah.
years?
It was a lot of work.
So thank you. And you've changed a little bit of the head leadership too in the front office, a little bit longer than DEA, but basically recently.
About 2 years ago, a little less than 2 years ago, we got a new director, James Comey. Great guy. He has really changed the feel and flavor of the FBI. And so we're very optimistic. He has a big focus on leadership and developing leaders within the organization, people that we can push through and show that leadership throughout. But certainly our priorities haven't changed. Terrorism is still what we're concerned with. It's a big deal to us and our number one priority, and we continue to push down that path. So our priorities aren't changing, but maybe the way we look and feel is changing a little bit under this new leadership.
Yeah, I do want to emphasize the fact that people don't see the behind-the-scenes stuff, but we reacted and dealt with a lot of issues behind the scenes of the Super Bowl, and you guys were just wonderful in sharing the information that we needed to have shared with us so we could be on top of things before they occur, but God forbid if something were to happen, we prepared to be able to address those issues, and so that's big as well. Citizens don't see that.
Right.
They just see the fact that the roads are crowded, people are here, some of the inconveniences of having crowds in your neighborhoods, but for the most part, it was incredibly well coordinated and safe because you guys were willing and capable of sharing information with us, and we were willing and able to deal with it. So
Yeah, the
thank you for
partnership
that.
worked very well.
Very well. So what have we got in the future? We got some things going on that you guys are working on in terms of future partnerships and opportunities? It's okay if you don't.
Well-
Because we're still working the DA task force.
Right.
We're still dealing with terrorism
Daily.
in our
Sure.
terrorism liaison officers and the intelligence that we share. And we have an officer assigned to the FBI.
You have
we have two. You're right.
You have people on the Joint Terrorism Task Force, which is huge, and sort of how Doug explained. You have a sergeant that leads the DEA task force. When these task force officers are on that Joint Terrorism Task Force, they run the cases. They are the case agent. They are no different than anyone else, and they're doing a great job. But you talk about what's going on right now. I think what's important for me, and I think important for the citizens to know, is just the up-tempo of the terrorist threat right now. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of talk going on that really has a lot of us a little concerned right now. And so we always talk about if you see something, say something. I couldn't reiterate it more. Our assistant director of terrorism was speaking to us recently, and I really, for the first time, he looked a little nervous. I mean, it's just, there's that much going on. And so I just would encourage the citizens of Scottsdale just to be vigilant and you know what's happening in your neighborhood, you know what's happening around you. If it doesn't look right, call the Scottsdale Police Department so you can get to your task force officer or call the FBI, because we really want to make sure that we get in front of all those types of issues.
We talk about that a lot.
We talk about that
Citizens
on our
Academy
shows.
and the Citizens Academy, we talk about, listen, folks, if you see it and it doesn't feel right,
Right.
you're not waking us up. call us,
Yes,
let's come check
that's
out.
why we're
We would
here.
much rather stop the burglary from occurring than respond and have to write all that down in a report of all that was taken. And if it's nothing there and you called us without trying to time how quickly we could get there, because we've had those situations in the area. But if you're calling because you really think something's wrong and nothing's wrong, we're not upset about that. We're
at
okay with it.
work.
We prefer that. And so, to your point, if you see something that just doesn't look right, maybe it isn't. Just tell somebody.
And I think people have a hard time imagining that they don't know what that means sometimes. If you see something, call. They don't really know how to break that down. If you see a car or a van or something that's been parked that shouldn't be there, or if you see people taking photographs or video that you just don't know in your neighborhood, just to break it down to some of the things that they should be aware of. And this is what we talk about in Citizens Academy, even just as far down as just a burglary or something. If you see a pool guy and you know your neighbors are not home, they're on vacation, call somebody.
Yeah.
So when we say, call something if you see something funny, a lot of people don't know what that means. So it can be as simple as something like that.
So Pete, is there anything you'd like to explain?
Yeah, there
to the
is.
audience?
Actually, Chief, one of the things that we've seen an uptick recently, and I've learned this in the 3 years in Phoenix that I've been here, is because of the snowbirds that come in. You have a lot of the elderly folks that do come to Arizona. We see a great an uptick in the elderly fraud. A lot of the Nigerian scams that are coming. A lot of folks come to our office, will show up, and we'll get correspondence via email and or phone calls and letters, suggesting that they were solicited via email, or someone actually called them, a cold call, and let them know whether they're being preyed on because of their religious beliefs. What we've seen and what we've deduced from all this, Chief, is the fact that there are quite a few folks that may be well-to-do that come to this area. I believe that's directly attributed to those phone calls. Those people call, the Nigerian scams, those folks that do call, the older folks who are looking for that easy victim, asking for funds to be shipped overseas. They may claim that they won the lottery, which unfortunately the victim did not play the lottery, and we have to persuade them not to stop all correspondence or any contact with these folks. But we get quite a few phone calls. We've actually driven to some of these folks' homes and talked to them in Scottsdale and let them know. It gets to the point, and unfortunately, that maybe some family intervention is necessary to stop that elderly person from shipping their life savings. They lose hundreds of thousands of dollars to these suspects. So part of the public awareness, if you will, is to let people know what we like to do, we all do, and what we do for a living is let them know nothing's for free.
Right.
And if
It's
you
too
have
good
not
to be
made
true.
contact,
It's too good to be true. We just talked about that last month.
Yeah, we had a fraud program. You can go back and see that too.
Yeah, that's right.
We talked about those very issues. And by the way, those scams change. I mean, they go out there, they get as much as they can, and they disappear because we catch on to them. We talk about those, and then there's a
Grandson's in
small
jail.
nuance of some kind to make it a new and improved scam, and people fall for that. And so you just have. It's so difficult for us to stay one step ahead of what other people are thinking they can do because we just don't think that way about what people can do to separate them from their finances. And so, do you offer resources then to the community?
We do. We ask them to make contact to law enforcement and ask an opinion. If you indeed think you're a victim or are unsure of this recipient of those funds, whether you think it's a donation or you found someone that you may be attracted to online, ask either family or ask law enforcement. Some of the signs are obvious. We see it as obvious, but unfortunately, most of these victims are overwhelmed with the attention or the potential of a relationship, if you will, or whatever the scenario is. Like you said, Chief, it changes quite a bit. So we see a lot of that. We're seeing a lot of that, and it does slow down. It directly correlates with the influx of the snowbirds, if you will, during the season. So.
Thank you. Thanks. So do you offer any kind of either outreach or a tip line for citizens to call?
We're focusing a lot right now, Chief, on the increasing heroin problem that we have here, right? It's directly related to the increase in prescription drug abuse and addiction. So what we've done is we've set up a couple of different programs. We always have our community outreach through our demand reduction coordinators who go out and talk to community groups anytime they want to talk about that continuing problem. The other thing we've done is we have a tip line that's tip 411. So if you have a suspected doctor or somebody that's overprescribing, or you have information about some type of opioid abuse, send that tip in to us. You don't have to identify yourself or anything like that. We'll take a look at it, see if we can do something with it. But we have to take care of this issue. It's a big problem. Our young people are getting addicted to these prescription drugs. The Mexican cartels are feeding that addiction by pumping more and more heroin into the United States. So it's a burgeoning problem that we're going to need to get a hold of really fast as a society. We're going to be dealing with a lot of heroin addicts over the next 10 to 15 years.
Scary stuff.
It is.
Thank you for that. And I don't know if the FBI Citizens Academy is open for the public, or how you...
It is. We
Okay.
solicit for the Citizens Academy.
Okay.
And usually we get it from people who have been through, we solicit through them, but there is a website that they can go to, and I'm not sure what that website is.
I think we've talked about it before. Jane Bornstad
Yeah.
is my cohort there, and so we'll put it on there for you.
Yeah, and if you just call even to the FBI main number and ask for our community affairs, you can certainly get access to that. And then the other thing I just would throw out there that kind of a new thing that we're working with Scottsdale is cyber. And got a task force officer helping us with the cyber things, and that's one of those areas that is really taking off, obviously, in the world, in the country, that we're trying to stay in front of and on top of. And so we are really trying to address the cyber threat that is now addressing our country as well.
Wow. Guys, I can't thank you enough for taking
Really?
time out of your busy day. I could talk to you guys all day, and
I know.
we've had the opportunity to see each other off stage, where we do talk quite a bit and communicate. And so I just appreciate you coming here and letting our citizens know that, one, you're out there, and two, we've got an amazing working relationship with your agencies. And quite frankly, the things that you do to ensure the public safety here in the city of Scottsdale and the state of Arizona and Mexico is just phenomenal. So thank you guys for being so part of our program.
Thank you so much for coming
Thank you
today.
for
We're
having
so
us.
happy to have
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chief.
That'll do it for this month's edition of what are we now? Oh, we got the same name. We have the same name behind the badge.
Name. We came up with the name.
Thanks for joining us, and be safe.
See
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye.
See you next week.